Well, if now, please start.
Hello, Mina. Glad to see you here. So we're starting probably in a few minutes. Just waiting for feedback from Alexandra that we can start. And we're starting with the event.
Well, if now, we can start now. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. We're here at VCTV. My name is Dmitry Solovyov, and I will be the moderator of today's panel. And today we will talk about VC insights in the Middle East on the topic of fintech and blockchain. Actually, we host a number of panels every day, but today's topic will be dedicated to fintech and blockchain only. And today we will discuss such topics like about recent investments and mergers and acquisitions in this space, emerging products and pivots, VC investment process, best practices. Actually, we have great speakers here with big expertise in this field, and we'll be ready here to share this experience and etc. So as about myself, my name is Dmitry Solovyov. I'm from Latokin company, and I'm responsible here for building probably this VCTV product for helping entrepreneurs, for making pitches for investors. And today I'll be moderating this panel. So kindly, could you tell a little bit about yourself, just kind of an introduction, and we'll move next to the panel discussion. Okay, so who'll be the first one?
Thank you very much, Dimitri. This is Sharik Hashmi. My name is Sharik Hashmi, and I am the founder and project lead for ZXC ecosystem and ZXC wallet. It's a totally specialized project for digital assets, centralized as well as decentralized. And we have a very unique feature, ZXC wallet on iOS and Android as well, with wallet-to-wallet chatting feature. So these are some of the products, and we are working very much on the new feature of decentralized finance within our wallet, as well as with consensus as well, the Ethereum Foundation. So this is my introduction.
Awesome, awesome. Who's next?
Great. So, hi everyone. My name is Vaibhav Gugia. I'm an entrepreneur and an investments and finance professional. Worked for close to 3 years in the Middle East, primarily in the Dubai, Abu Dhabi region. And I currently work with a Fortune 500 conglomerate with their financial services business. I've raised and managed multi-million-dollar investments from the Middle East, from VCs, from angels. And currently, I also advise startups in the fintech space who are raising their first institutional rounds.
Okay, very nice. Who'll be next? Maybe Aladdin?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aladdin. I'm the co-founder for a enterprise company called ShortPoint, and also I'm the head of commercial and acquisition for a company called Ajar. Ajar, basically, the recent one is a payment management solution for real estate industry. And we are functioning in the Middle East, mainly in Kuwait and UAE, and we are about also to expand our businesses in the whole GCC region. And thank you for having me in here.
Okay, okay. Who's next? Mina?
Hello, my name is Mina. I run BII Summit. We're a blockchain investment specific event. and we help blockchain companies from around the world come to Dubai and enter the Middle East market so that they can reach investors. We generally deal with family offices, high net worth individuals, and government institutions slash VCs. And the goal of what I do essentially is just to help blockchain companies and startups to gain investment from the Middle East, and at the same time help the Middle East get blockchain technology into their investment portfolio.
Okay,
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, glad to see you all here. And we have here Mufti Ismail Desai, but we do not see him.
Yes, I am online.
Could you switch on your camera, or it's not working?
Sorry, I am just mobile, so I would do via audio today, if that's fine.
Okay, if you can't switch on, so that's okay. So kindly introduce yourself in 2 minutes.
Sure. I am a Sharia scholar as a Mufti, which is of the highest level of learning in the Islamic faith, and also a banker qualified at the London School of Economics, and an ex-intern of Goldman Sachs, the banking group. I am the CEO and chairman of Global Islamic Financial Services, which is a mid-market boutique Islamic investment bank and asset management firm. We essentially have 4 silos of business. We have a corporate investment banking division that primarily advises and issues sukuk, Islamic bonds, and other investment banking services with an Islamic finance focus. We have a private equity franchise that manages over $2 billion. We also have a prop trading desk and a financial services arm. That's essentially myself and our firm.
Okay, so that's nice. So glad to see you all here. So you have great expertise in fintech and blockchain, and you are all working in Middle East area. So today we'll have a panel discussion about these. And so let's probably about maybe recent investments or mergers and acquisitions in this space. So probably what's happening in the Middle East in the field of fintech and blockchain. So this area is a little bit different from another areas in the world. So and there are several topics probably that we have to discuss today. So I would like to know what is the difference in the Middle East about this. So maybe you have own expertise, or you know probably cases in this area. So who could start about this?
Should I start?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So regarding the blockchain technology, we have been involved with the industry for the last 6 to 7 years. Like we have been participating in the events as a speaker and exhibitor, and we have raised the funds for our projects as well. So right now, initially when we have started in 2017, the adoption was not there because the education was not there. So gradually, there are many VCs, and specifically the hedge funds within the Middle East territory. They have started taking interest in this Industry 4.0 applications, including fintech and blockchain technology. So now, if we will observe, there are many hedge funds, including, I can say, like family offices. So they, if I'm calculating the average, so in 2019, the average was approximately 37% of the hedge funds. They were investing in the technology platforms or fintech. Now it is raised up to 51% by the end of 2019. So this is the like cumulative value of 14% more. The hedge funds, specifically family offices in the Middle East region, they have taken interest in Industry 4.0 applications, specifically fintech and blockchain technology. So this is like a big adoption when it comes to the hedge funds or the VCs, because as you know, Dimitri, like the detailed due diligence processes always come from these sides, VCs and hedge funds. Now they have taken it very seriously, because if we are talking about only Dubai region, there are more than 20 departments, and we are a part of those POCs, proof of concept, regarding the blockchain technology, including RT and Dubai Land Department. So they have done their POCs, and by the end of 2020, they will be on blockchain. So they are going to save approximately 20 billion dirham, which is approximately equal to $5.5 billion when they are going to adopt this blockchain technology in the full-fledged in 20 departments of Dubai government. Only I'm talking about Dubai government. So this is the fundamental value or the saving of money in terms of blockchain technology. Besides regarding of the security concerns or the data integrity or the data security is on the other side, that is a very beneficial in terms of industry 4.0 applications of the fintech. So this is the level of the adoption, and this is the level of funding right now we are receiving in the blockchain technology. Regarding the acquisitions and the mergers, there's few companies within the Middle East, including like some of our colleagues and whom we were directly involved or indirectly involved in the development process. Some like US or European companies, they have already acquired few blockchain technologies from the Middle East area as well. So this was my input for that.
Okay, that's awesome. As I understand from your speech, so Dubai government is probably the leader right now in the world regarding the adoption of blockchain and fintech technology. So I probably don't know other governments who adopt really hard this technology right now.
Australia government, they have given like $1 billion contract to IBM in early 2019. So if we are talking about the governments, like some of the European governments, including Estonia, okay, and Dubai government and Australia government, they are working, but like regardless of that, there are some European territories, they are working on their own with including the private public partnership. So if we are talking the whole government, Dubai government, Australia government, and Estonia government, they are very much focused on this, the adoption of blockchain technology as well as fintech.
Okay, that's nice. One more speaker joined us, Jakanwar Singh. Glad to see you here. So we were introducing yourself probably in 1 minute in the when the event started. So kindly, could you tell a little bit about yourself, probably in 1 minute, just for visitors to understand who is who joined us.
Sorry, I was late. My name is Jas. I am the CEO of Audace Labs. Audace Labs is a technology consulting firm. We specialize in AI and blockchain. We've operated from Dubai for about 5 years now. We were at the cusp when the Dubai blockchain strategy was implemented, and the 2021 Dubai blockchain strategy was implemented. Audace Labs has worked with companies through Dubai Future Accelerators, which is the hub of innovation in Dubai, with companies like Emirates Airlines to build solutions based on blockchain, artificial intelligence. We've also worked with Etisalat, which is one of the biggest telecom providers in the UAE, into building solutions which integrate AI, blockchain, as well as insurtech solutions, because blockchain brings a lot of transparency, and we're building. I see that there is a lot of scope of having AI and blockchain work together, because they are both revolutionary technologies. And when you have artificial intelligence where a lot of data is required, and blockchain can give you data security, and it helps people give their data, and they don't have to worry a lot about their privacy concerns when we're using blockchain based decentralized ledger systems. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, that's nice. So we're discussing right now about recent investments or mergers and acquisitions in the space of fintech and blockchain in the Middle East. So if who else have something to tell visitors about? Okay, Mina.
I can add something. Actually, I've known Sharik for a long time. He's one of our first customers.
I would just like.
Okay, yeah. I don't know who is talking, but go ahead. Yep. Go ahead. I will wait. No problem.
Oh, okay, Mina.
All right. Yeah, I'll just continue. Yeah.
Sure.
So, what Sharik was saying is actually very important, but there are a lot like. The largest company so far to adopt blockchain strategies is Aramco in terms of a company that makes revenue and company that is valued the highest is Aramco, which is a Saudi Arabian company. And when they came to adopt it, they adopted it for supply chain solutions. The World Economic Forum released a blockchain supply chain toolkit, and they were one of the first to actually adopt it. So I think that a lot of people were thinking that blockchain is going to be used specifically for financial ledgers, maybe for data transfer for medicine and the healthcare industry. But the most practical use right now, other than, of course, Bitcoin and crypto exchange, is supply chain. So in Dubai, the government, their 2020 blockchain strategy focuses specifically on putting all their financial transactions on the blockchain ledger and dealing with real estate. So they want to find a way to manage their real estate better by putting that data on the blockchain. But I'm sure now, after Aramco's adoption of the supply chain thing, they will also add that as well.
Okay, so seems Dubai government is the #1 topic for discussion today about blockchain and fintech area. Yeah. So that's great. Okay, who else have something to tell us?
So it's, I'd
I
like to provide some.
Instead of just talking about VC investments, would just like to talk about a little about the user behavior, the consumer behavior in the whole Middle East region. So we've seen, particularly in terms of fintech, there is really less adoption when we come to the Middle East region. So only about 20% penetration of fintech products the Middle East region has achieved, whereas the South Asian countries have up to 30 to 35% penetration within their countries. The #1 reason today fintech is on one of the biggest agendas of almost all the governments in the Middle East is because it has broken the barriers. So there was one quote that I was listening to, which said that there are some changes that they take decades to happen. There are some weeks where those decades happen. So, and we have seen those changes happen really quickly in the Middle East region. Huge adoption coming in within a matter of months. The #1 priority in terms of fintech for central organizations in the Middle East government is to reduce the number of things that with the consumers. The digital transactions have taken an uptake went about 18 to 19% before COVID to over 65% now. Another key focus area for a lot of governments is improving the credit quality, because governments know that providing easy access of funds, easy access of capital to MSMEs, businesses is one of the biggest priorities of any economy. And for that reason, all three agendas are coming in big in terms of fintech particularly.
Okay. Thanks for your sharings. Aladdin, maybe you?
Hi everyone. So I can't agree more with the team, to be honest. There were some recent development and shift, especially in the Middle East. But also to add more a little bit, like the blockchain and fintech are like completely different in terms of like infrastructure and kind of industry. Blockchain, as we know, that it's not just the Bitcoin and those cryptocurrency, it's the same infrastructure, which we can see that it's being adopted in the Middle East in a way, in a gradual way. But things also shifted after, especially in the fintech favor after or during the COVID-19. So there were completely offline businesses that even startups, they are shifting completely to be online in terms of the payment, and the amount of the current payment, whether it's the startups or the companies, they own their fintech infrastructure or they're using third parties, is also becoming more and more in terms of consumption and adoption. So the demand suddenly become increasing, and the fintech in general in the Middle East, I would say in the last 5 years, it have occurred some development and like huge investment into it. But now Now, any company, like for example with Ajar right now, we are in the real estate industry. However, we are considered somehow as a fintech. APAC magazine, they put Ajar as one of the, I would say, eye-catching fintech in the region, because the whole transition in the industry is going to be online, and they are more into the, not more into the offline thing. So now I say that we are going through emerging moment in our region where the shift is increasing in terms of demand, as well as, of course, it will be an eye catch and eye opening for the investment to be in the fintech. But blockchain itself, I think we are still in the early stage. There is, we cannot say that there is a lot of investment and major acquisition right now, because it's still into the developing stage. However, as Sharik said, giving that, like, it's not just the Middle East, actually, even in San Francisco right now, and even globally, there are hedge fund and family funds specialized only in the crypto, apart even just from being blockchain. So there is a blockchain, there's a crypto, and there are the everything else. So there are, we need to just make sure like how we see everyone and tackle it in order to understand how we can get the leverage best out of each category. Yeah.
I'd actually like to add something to what Aladdin said, which, Aladdin just said, he just explained one of the most important things that I think, especially young startups don't understand, which is there's a big difference between fintech and blockchain. Blockchain is actually a part of fintech, but fintech, if a bank sells you, provides you traditional services that require paper to get done, and they simply go online and find a slightly more innovative way to provide that service, that's considered fintech. Fintech is not, you implement some crazy technology that completely changes things. Any digital revolution within the financial industry is considered fintech, which is financial technology. And blockchain is kind of fintech. It's just its own software, you can say. So a lot of people don't understand that, I think, and it makes fintech seem like this out of space thing. So when investors come, they're like, oh, fintech, that's scary. But it's not. It's just financial technology improvements, which is needed for everything. Credit card payments online are fintech. Online processes are fintech. So it is very important, I think, what Aladdin just said.
So blockchain helps to disrupt fintech area. So we could tell something like this.
Exactly.
Okay.
I would like to add in here as well. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Continue.
So a very big part of fintech is also insurtech, which is an area that I work in. Currently, due to COVID, we see very large insurance companies merging together because they're getting claims, especially on the health side. They have a lot of claims, and what this does is they're forced to merge or acquire other companies. You can see Darul Takaful and Noor Takaful, one of the biggest insurers, merging together. And now what this drives is you have a very big capital pool in a company, so they start investing and testing out new technologies. We've seen companies like Addenda come in. I don't know if people know. Addenda is a company which uses blockchain to do motor insurance claims, so the internal claim processing. There's also fintech companies like Tabby come in the picture due to COVID. So Tabby is a company through which you can buy a product now and pay later, and it doesn't go on your credit card. So a lot of spending habits have changed. People are in the need of money. The fintech can be used to break up payments in smaller chunks and to not go to the regular banking channels, which, as you know, a lot of people here, they're startups, and I am sure in Dubai people have gone through the pain of setting up a bank account. So there are a lot of changes that can be done, changes that can be incorporated during these times. COVID is going to revolutionize our future, and it's going to empower SMEs, and it's fintech is going to play a very big role in it. I'm not sure of blockchain yet, but fintech definitely, because blockchain has a very long way to go. There's a lot of software infrastructure that you need to have in place, but fintech is quick win that you can get. When you look at blockchain as general, it takes some time to come in.
Okay, so COVID became a growth factor for this field. So
Yes.
super growth factor became. Okay, Mufti, maybe you have something to add.
Yes, thank you. So I'd just like to provide a quick background to the fintech and specifically the Islamic fintech industry in the Middle East or the MENA region. So fintech essentially arrived to the shores of the Gulf region in 2017, where you had certain regulators like the UAE Central Bank, etc., looking at regulations, etc. And in 2019, the MENA ecosystem did deals to the value of approximately 600 million US from 354 deals, up by 30% in 28, higher than 2018. And this is according to a particular venture investment report. So there's three important highlights. The first is that from an investment perspective, we're seeing a dramatic rise of investment into the MENA region for VC funding, fintech, blockchain, etc. In 2017, we had funding of approximately 80 million US that picked up in 2018, 2019, and in 2020, there's been a dramatic rise in funding. The other important point is that in the Middle East or MENA region, most fintech firms operate in what is called transfer and remittance sectors. What we are now seeing is a diversification of that. As our last speaker alluded to, in terms of TABI, the buy now pay later scheme. There are other schemes like Monami Tech and other companies that are looking at similar fintech plays. So there is now a dramatic rise in diversification in terms of the different sectors or fintech sectors. Also, the other point is that the MENA is home to approximately 450 to 500 million people, and almost half the population is younger than 25 years old. So there's a huge potential for fintech and blockchain penetration. This is a very hungry market for technology. You also have an emergence of investment funds. So, for example, we've been speaking to several VC funds where we could create an Islamic venture capital fund, or the first ever Islamic venture capital fund in the Middle East. Partnering with a Silicon Valley player that has successful exits of over $2 billion. So that's an overall background to the fintech and blockchain space in the MENA regions. When it comes to Islamic finance, what we're finding is that there are many companies that are setting out to develop Islamic crowdfunding, Sharia robo advisory, and many of these entities are doing partnerships with Islamic banks and fund houses so that they can then access the market. And in terms of what we are doing as a firm, as GIVS, is that we are our model is in terms of partnering with other fintechs so that we can then JV and do joint ventures with them to offer the market, to offer suitable Islamic financial solutions to the market. So from that perspective, we see a huge opportunity. And the space is only going to open up. So I've heard a lot about the UAE and fintech and technology, but other markets are slowly opening up, like Egypt, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia. I mean, huge. These are huge markets. So, I mean, in essence, there's huge potential for Islamic fintech and blockchain. Another opportunity, from a blockchain perspective, is in terms of what is called smart sukuk, where the sukuk, so Islamic bonds, can be democratized so that it can be made available to the retail sector, so we can create liquid Islamic capital markets. The second play would be is in terms of Islamic trade finance. So I know that the Islamic Trade Finance Corporation, or ITFC, which is a branch of the Islamic Development Bank, is looking at institutionalizing blockchain for Islamic trade finance deals. So there's an opportunity there, and also we are currently working on a project where we would have a gold-backed crypto token backed by blockchain that would essentially, you would be able to access your cash via Visa and Mastercard, payment solutions and wallets globally. So it will be gold-backed, and obviously with COVID, there is a huge push towards safe haven assets like gold, etc. So I think the timing couldn't be better. And lastly, from our perspective, the good news is that we've just launched an ISDA Master Tahawut agreement, which basically is a brokerage, product for Islamic financial institutions, and we're aiming to democratize that, where your average retail investor would be able to access leverage on Islamic or Sharia compliant stocks.
Okay, thank you for your input. So we probably discussed right now about recent investments, about this situation in the Middle East, in the field of fintech and blockchain. And right now, let's move for different examples, probably emerging products here and pivots. So maybe startups that have a great
right
use cases and etc. So
right.
Who could share something about?
Sure. So I think the number one thing that the COVID situation particularly has done in the financial services sector is that it has done a lot of market correction. So major financial services businesses in the Middle East region and across the globe, in fact, they have lost close to 1/4 of their market capital. And all of this market correction is because COVID situation has brought about some very fundamental underlying issues that were there in the financial services market. The biggest problem that we see is the declining credit quality. And hence, respective to each of these underlying issues, there are corresponding startups that have come up on solving these issues for these financial services businesses. So declining credit quality is one of the biggest issues that we have seen across the globe that big lenders, financial institutions, NBFCs are facing these days. Most of the economies went into a lockdown, because of which most of the good assets that companies had were undervalued, were underpriced, and then a lot of M&A activity happened. Business finance has also suffered due to closure of a lot of operations of most of the banks, because of which the credit markets were almost shut. And hence, all these issues, when seen at a common conjuncture, they bring about certain, they actually expose certain fissures in the financial services industry. And one of the biggest ones that I earlier also talked about was to reduce touch points. So a lot of banks these days, so there's actually an event that the Abu Dhabi government, the central bank of UAE, in fact, is organizing. It's called the International Fintech Innovation Summit. And the biggest problem statement that they've put forward for that summit is to reduce the touch points between the customers and the banks, which is only possible when you do a digital onboarding and digital transactions. So I think these two are the biggest areas where we have particularly seen startups doing eKYC, digital onboarding, where they do not really have to meet any agent or any employee of the bank for purchasing products like like health insurance or life insurance, or for simply opening a bank account. Another interesting area where there are a lot of startups doing a lot of stuff is around credit scoring. So credit scoring is a very important factor that comes in. Due to the COVID situation, a lot of SMEs, a lot of medium-sized businesses defaulted on their loans, and because of which major banks had to shrink their lending books because the credit quality was going bad. And one biggest reason of this is the thin file credit consumers that do not have enough information behind them, and banks cannot lend them a lot. So there are a lot of startups that are working in the area of getting more and more data sources attached. And a lot of economies in the Middle East are also debating coming up with a common interoperable data structure that we could have in place so as to share the data of a single consumer in terms of their financial status, so as to make lending more easy for them. So I think these are the major areas where there's a lot of stuff happening, especially when it concerns startups.
Awesome. That's incredible. Who wants to add anything? Or maybe another examples of emerging products, services that blockchain and fintech provides us?
I can add on companies. I can tell you how, like, what investors in the Middle East or Middle Eastern investment, what kind of companies they're looking for in blockchain. If that goes in line with what you're asking, then I have a really good case study.
Okay, so 1 second. Yeah, okay, you could share your case study.
I think this is interesting for everybody, including myself on the panel and the people listening. So we had a company that provides blockchain services. They are competing with IBM. IBM's the largest blockchain service provider in the world. Anybody who's second best in the blockchain service providing world is generally startups and mid-sized companies that were IT companies that chose to take on a blockchain. So there's nobody that can really do it at the level of IBM. So this company came from Canada, and we got them a partnership with Sheikh Al Maktoum has their own private family office venture called the Seed Group. So we got them a strategic partnership that I think is valued at $5 million. I'm not sure of the exact number, but it's done over a few years. And the idea is that they bring this company on, and this company starts to provide many different services in blockchain to kind of start inputting the idea of having blockchain technology into traditional structure. So again, like supply chain, better financial ledger management, better data management, smoother transactions and things of that sort. But in terms of actual blockchain startups coming from the Middle East, I think Sharik would be one of the best people who can tell you about that, because there aren't really many, or at least successful blockchain startups that come from the Middle East. It's mainly companies that we bring from outside who input services rather than products or subscription services.
Thank you very much, Meena. Yes, I just want to add a few things. First of all, regarding the blockchain technology adoption, as well as, because there are two things over here. One is blockchain technology or the Industry 4.0 application. The other thing is when we are converting or transferring it's a paradigm shift from the legacy systems to the blockchain technology system. So we are calling it distributed ledger technology. So DLTs are there too. Okay. So regarding this emerging products or pivots within the Middle East region, we are calling them Industry 4.0 applications. That doesn't include only blockchain technology. It includes artificial intelligence. It includes virtual reality. It includes robotic process automation. Okay, it includes cybersecurity. So these are the things they are already included. Regarding this matter, like Meena mentioned and my other colleagues mentioned, Dubai blockchain strategy or the Dubai blockchain center, which is run by Dr. Marwan over here in the Middle East. So Dr. Marwan is a very good colleague of us, okay, and we have done few projects together, okay. So the point is that regarding this scenario for the blockchain adoption or the integration of fintech technology with the legacy systems, there are many root level programs by government authorities. Okay, and within those government authorities program, there are many winners who has done a job, who has done the development of some sort of fintech application, including the blockchain integration within the matter of 48 to 52 hours. And it was done from Ajman, it was done from Sharjah, it was done from Dubai. So for those companies, and I know those guys, those developers, like Silicon Valley companies, they have come into the picture. They have helped them financially, they have helped them I mean to say development and other prospects of the work. So the regarding these emerging products, we have seen so many companies within the domain of Middle East. Now they are coming to the point they can compete with the international companies. By myself, I have been the advisor for the technical architecture of many US and Russian projects. Okay, so we have done the technical architecture of many projects. Now they are on the verge of the implementation. So this is the kind of emerging product, not only the blockchain technology, but the artificial intelligence and other technologies over here in the Middle East region. And companies or the government sector, they are backing them. Because if we are talking about the UAE region specifically, they are very much tech savvy, and they help each and every technology oriented platforms by any means. So these are the things. One of the example Mina has mentioned, I have so many other examples. So but it's better that I have kept them secure, because we have signed the NDA with them. So these are the things. There are many prospective things going on within the adoption of fintech, not only the blockchain technology, but industry 4.0 application. It includes Internet of Things, it includes blockchain technology and artificial intelligence. So this is my input for this.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else like to?
If you guys know me, I really enjoy this conversation. So I just want to touch point on two things. In terms of emerging, nowadays, like who's not trying to be not fintech? I mean, like all companies trying to be fintech right now, because the whole emerging and the whole transition into the online payment is like they bringing that brings them to reconsider and rethink about their payment infrastructure. And some of them, they are using third party. Now they are investing to build their own payment gateways and their whole internal fintech infrastructure. So literally there is a huge shift. Like for example, I was working closely with the e-commerce, whether it's retail and like grocery delivery, as well as the whole real estate, with the founders and some existing investors. And they were literally saying that, okay, this is something before COVID was X, now we need to bring it to Y. It's like we need to have new plan, new investment, and how we're gonna move aggressively into change that. They are now even considering, it's like, okay, if this is third party, how we can own ours and segregate other things on the third party until we are more and more mature, because they believe this is the future and this is where they are aiming for. On the other side, we are living in a very strange time right now, especially like still COVID. There is kind of like artificial inflation happening all around the world, and people start to lose the trust, or at least they start to see the decrease of the US dollar value. And here I can see recently there is a huge shift in the a new concept of cryptocurrencies and infrastructure that support like provide counterinflation infrastructure. There is new cryptocurrencies happening right now. It's like they are trying to create like stable counterinflation based on gold, real estate, special algorithms, AI as well, and all of them, to be honest, make sense. And they are some of them. I know one of them really here in the Middle East. They are backed more than $500 million so far with collateral assets, and they are even shifting that not just from the Middle East, from all around the world. So that basically didn't happen before. It's just like now, because of all the bubble that we are living right now, it's like there's a COVID, there is a huge layoff, but at the same time, the stocks market are up. The properties value in Middle East, it's affected, but in the States actually it's stable, and some places, some states are even going up more and more. So it's like, okay, the question is like the US dollar value is actually decreasing, but the assets are stable somehow. So now there is a real talk about how to create kind of counter-inflation infrastructure and cryptocurrencies, which is really working on the ground. Still, it's under the process of proving that, but there are some real work going on the ground here, and I can see that happening, at least live. I know one of the guys here in Dubai, and literally there is really good shift on that. So yeah, I just want to touch base about those 2 points here happening.
Okay. So if something will happen with the dollar, so Middle East would be ready to shift to the blockchain area and move all the assets here.
It would be very difficult to do that. Dubai is actually pegged to the dollar, so our dirham fluctuates with the dollar directly. So I just want to add a very quick point, but this is extremely interesting to what Aladdin just said. So Dubai has at least before COVID, had the highest number of users per city on Instagram. So we have the most active people in the world on Instagram. And a lot of people don't know this, by the way, because you wouldn't expect that, right? In the Middle East, have a city like that. Yet 80% of companies had to have cash on delivery to actually provide products. If you didn't have cash on delivery, you'd be out of business, no matter how tech savvy you were. And obviously when Corona came, we had like an immediate shift. Like you had to have your card, to the point that if you don't have your card, some restaurants and stuff couldn't deliver. So this is the big disconnect in the Middle East, is that when the whole business environment is put under pressure, things happen very fast. But like it took COVID to just move from cash on delivery to credit card payment, which is something that in the US has been done like 10 years ago. So I think actually fintech has much more opportunities than blockchain, because obviously blockchain is an early adoption. But I feel like entrepreneurs should sit down and just think about, how do we do this? How do we change the culture of people so that all these fintech innovations that could move us 10, 15, 20 years forward, how can we actually make them so that it's consistently being implemented, rather than wait for Corona or oil prices or whatever?
Okay. So we have discussed a little bit about the...
I want to add something,
okay.
Dimitri, please. Okay, right now, because we are discussing about the digital assets, okay, or the cryptocurrencies. So let me tell you one thing regarding the US dollar. Like Aladdin has mentioned, US dollar is backed by the asset, because each fiat currency is backed by some sort of asset. So for the last 1.5 years, US dollar is not backed by any asset. It is only printing. The next thing is that regarding the cryptocurrencies, there are many cryptocurrencies, they have a real life usage, okay, or the utilities. The one with the real estate backing, they are usually called security tokens. Like we have our own cryptocurrency, that is utility token, because the whole scenario of the usage or the utility of the token is within the exchange. So that's why it is utility token. The real estate tokens usually are the security tokens. And I'm telling you right now, I'm giving you the information, the GCC is going to tokenize the real estates. Okay, all of the real estate within the GCC. I'm not talking about only UAE. The whole GCC is going to tokenize the real estate. So tokenize means they are going to issue the tokens against the real estate. So you can be the owner, I can be the owner. So it all depends on the tokens adoption, what we are going to get. Okay. The next thing is, now we are talking about CBDC. Okay, central bank digital currencies. We are on the era of paradigm shift from the next internet, like from the past internet of money to the next internet of money, in terms of digital dollar, in terms of digital euro, in terms of digital yuan. And I'm telling you right now, at this moment, China has already been utilizing the digital yuan with many of their organizations, including public blockchains as well as private blockchains. Okay, so Ethereum, EOS, and other public chains, including Neo and 100 more public blockchains, they are going to include in their blockchain infrastructure by utilizing this digital yuan. So this is the example of central bank digital currency and the adoption of the government-based or government-backed currencies. Why? Because they have seen or they have observed. I'm talking about the Fed reserves from the US or the other regulators or the SECs. They have observed that dollar is going to be die sooner or later. So they have to adopt this digital dollar or digital euro or digital yuan. And it the same scenario that like we have seen the fiat currencies, we will see the whole movement of digital currencies backed by the governments in the next 2 to 3 years. That's the point I wanted to add.
Okay.
Sorry, Dimitri, I'd just like to add
Sure.
some comments to that. Just to iterate based on what the last speaker has mentioned in terms of the USD and being backed by an asset. So, just to go down history lane, the Bretton Woods Agreement was established in the early 1940s when approximately 44 countries agreed on certain parameters of global currencies and fiscal and monetary policy. By the early 1970s, President Nixon did away with what is called the gold standard. So essentially, the US dollar wasn't backed by any asset, and therefore most, or in fact all currencies globally, delinked gold from their currencies. So that's just a digression. But I'd like to make 3 points before I terminate. The first is that from a RegTech perspective, and specifically looking at Islamic finance, we are working on what is called a Sharia or Mufti bot that is backed by artificial intelligence. So essentially, as a Muslim, as a normal Muslim, you would go to a Sharia scholar like a Mufti, which is a scholar that will issue what is called Islamic legal edict, and you would get a ruling based on specific scenarios. We are developing a bot backed by artificial intelligence and technology, where you would be able to input certain data and then receive an Islamic legal edict. So obviously it won't be 100%, but we would get it to that level, eventually after various stages. So the idea is that in the UAE, for example, we're working with Norton Rose Fulbright, where they've received a mandate by the UAE government to then adopt what is called a new standard for Islamic financial institutions, across the country. And with that, standardization, we would then be able to input that data into a bot or a RegTech, solution that would then be able to screen financial products and ensure that they are then compliant. So that essentially, solves 2 problems. The first is that, in the Islamic finance industry, there is a huge demand for Islamic scholars that have an expertise in Islamic finance. And secondly is that this would be a way of us democratizing Islamic finance, because, Sharia compliance, certification of products, fintech products comes with a cost. This would then essentially democratize that cost, where you'd then be able to access one database, be able to get your solution. So that's my first point in terms of RegTech. There's a huge opportunity there. Secondly is, so in terms of fintech products, in terms of blockchain, as I've alluded to before, there are various fintech companies that are developing solutions, and I'd like to focus on one central theme, and that is that the Islamic banking and economic system has effectively up till the current era only mimicked conventional products, and the fintech sector or fintech creates an opportunity where more purer products and concepts could be developed. So what we're talking about is a more partnership profit and risk sharing models that could be developed by using fintech. So what we're talking about P2P lending, Islamic equity crowdfunding. There's already an example of this in the UK called Nesta, being developed by Mr. Mohammed Paracha, who is the global head for Islamic finance at Norton Rose Fulbright. You have Ethis crowdfunding in Malaysia. So you will be able to get more purer forms of Islamic financial products using fintech. And secondly is that what this also creates is that it will create more innovation in the sector in terms of amalgamating all the different sectors of what is called the halal economy. So when we talk of the halal economy, we're not only talking about finance per se. Our respected leader, His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed, had mentioned a couple of years ago in terms of the Islamization or the development of the Islamic economy in the UAE, and he alluded to and specified 7 different sectors. So fintech is one way of then bringing all those sectors together under one platform. So, for example, you have halal fashion, you have halal cosmetics, you have halal travel. So by having you have technology, blockchain, fintech, that would be able then to amalgamate these different sectors so that it all becomes one big supply chain. Right now, we have a huge divide in terms of having different sectors that don't speak to each other. So, for example, the Islamic finance sector would not speak to the halal, the Islamic or the halal food sector. So, how can we bridge that divide and for both the sectors to speak to each other? Lastly, what I would say is that when it comes to the Islamic capital markets, sukuk is a much touted term in terms of you have these huge ticket sizes being announced almost on a monthly basis. Dubai government issues a $500 million Islamic sukuk bond. Islamic Development Bank issues a $1 billion sukuk bond. But we don't have solutions for retail investors. So how does the average retail investor, Islamic finance investor, then access these bonds? Because these are bonds or sukuks or Islamic bonds which are only available to what is called high net worth or sophisticated or accredited investors out of offshore jurisdictions like Jersey and Isle of Man, Guernsey, etc. So we believe that by democratizing sukuk, so that your average Muslim investor or Islamic finance investor would be able to access sukuk or Islamic fixed instruments via different platforms. So there are certain initiatives in order to drive that, and we believe that sooner than later there would be something to that effect that will be.
Matti, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm very sorry to interrupt, but we are running out of time, and I wanted to ask if Dmitry can pass over the word to other speakers. Jas Kanwar also would like to take a word, and please, Dmitry, could you moderate?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Mufti, thank you for your input. So in our discussion, probably we have the last point to discuss. So this is the about the new VC investment process and probably best practices that you have faced right now. So the situation with COVID probably have changed the process, how startups are communicating with investors. If recently there was one-on-one meetings for discussing the probably deal details, and now everyone probably switched to online conferences, or maybe other processes have adopted. So who could share about the new processes of VC investment?
Yeah, I could share a bit.
Yeah.
It's exactly like you said. If you were running an event for investment purposes, you had to go virtual. And if you're doing one-on-one meetings, you had to do, the investor now has to simulate. And I say simulate because you should be doing this. You should be using Zoom to close deals. And if the deal is so big that you have to meet face to face, I think that should be the end, the last thing that happens. But yeah, just literally, as you said, if you're meeting face to face, you'd have to now just use Zoom until it's worth meeting face to face.
I think after this adopting this use case, investors would like to meet personally because of a lot of time and that needed for this. So Zoom is more convenient and requires less time for the conversation.
That's why now Zoom is $16 billion app.
Yeah, absolutely.
Specifically
I
in this.
knew Sharik was gonna say that. I knew it.
Due to this COVID-19 situation, now Zoom shares are altogether approximately $16 billion industry. So this is the Zoom now.
As a concluding remark, I wanted to share a case study, if I may, if the panelists allow me to. So I also serve as the Chief Technology Officer of Sehtak, which is a digital health insurance company. Now, during the COVID lockdown, there are about more than 100 brokers in the UAE, and all the 100 brokers, they were, they're used to doing business face to face. You close deals face to face. Now it's a 20 billion dirham health insurance market. That's a 20 billion dirham market. Now for 2 to 3 months, there was a chance that nothing would happen. So what we developed is we came up with a system which would allow you to do online quotes, customize your own plan, and we white labeled it for more than 100 brokers, and we allowed and aided in their business continuity plans. And on that particular system, we've been able to have 500% growth in the last 3 months. And it's a similar story as Zoom. You come up with the product and it just fits right into the environment. So I think COVID or Corona, how would you like to call it, it's going to change a lot of those things, and it will drive down costs in terms of meeting, in terms of all those unnecessary meetings that we do. It would take them away. For a particular quote, quoting your health insurance, you don't need to meet a broker, right? It's just that this industry never went through a transformation, and we were forced to. So I suggest all the viewers and all the panelists will reach out to us. We will help you do these digital transformations, and these are the times where you can do this. These are the times where change will be accepted. So go ahead, guys.
So digital transformation is a must right now in new reality. Okay. Any other best practices?
I want to add something as a see, like when we are approaching to the VC investors, because we have done it by ourselves. I have like as a group together, we have invested more than 150 ICOs at the peak time of the ICOs. So we were working as a VC investor group, and we have done so many seminars, including and Mina is here. We have been a part of the blockchain investment and innovation summit. And like Mina is a very good colleague of us, and he has arranged so many meetings for us too. So the point is that when you are putting yourself in VC shoes, so as per my own experience, what we were doing, we were calculating only three things as per the virtual, because right now the world is virtual and the investments are virtual as well. One-on-one meetings are done. So when we were investing in the projects, specifically in the ICOs, there were three things we were looking at: the technical architecture or the minimum viable product, okay, MVP. The second thing is the team, and the third thing is the traction. What is the traction of the product or the project? So these were the three things, and trust me, Dimitri, like 99% of our investment came back to us with 5x to 10x. And you have seen the time of the ICOs in 2017 or early 2018 when the market was very volatile. So these are the things actually when we are not doing actually one-on-one, because the VC due diligence is very detailed. Okay, so when we are not doing one-on-one, or we are doing the Zoom call, these are the three things used to be in the best practices of the VCs. Because right now I have a very like I can say good or bad experience. Like we have closed the deal for our Series A funding, and at the end of the deal they were calling us. The VC was calling us because that was a group of investors to Italy. So due to this COVID-19 situation, we were not flying. So we are waiting for our visas and other things. So these are the points actually. So as per this virtual world, so there are some more best practices the VCs can adopt, including some of the practices I have explained it as per my own previous experience. So this is my input for the best practices. Thank you.
Okay, very valuable. Okay, so we have a great discussion for today. So probably we'll let's close up. And thanks for sharing your expertise for today. And probably have the last question for you today from viewers of our VCTV. So where to invest in this area? So what's booming right now for your opinion? So if you will have advice for investors, so what would be the area for investment? So what's your advice?
Decentralized finance, DeFi.
Okay.
I'm going to say something extremely controversial. Okay. Easiest investments you can make right now is real estate. Okay. Second best thing is definitely fintech, and third best is blockchain. That's my honest input.
I agree with Meena. Person, you should only invest in things that you understand, and real estate is pretty easy to understand. So I think and you could combine them together by investing into a real estate based token. So we keep all the people here happy,
I want to add one thing, that don't put your eggs in one basket. so real estate and decentralized finance all together, you can do it. But let me tell you, like on the serious note, let me tell you the decentralized finance example. See, like right now, more than $4 billion funding is in the decentralized finance. If you will see the YFI token, Yearn Finance, okay, so you will see it's 100,000% increase in the last 2 weeks. So there are more lending and borrowing and staking within decentralized finance at this moment. I do understand there are many people, they don't understand these things in a usual way because they are pretty much technical. So but right now decentralized finance is the next best thing in terms of financing, but don't put all of your eggs in one basket. That's my advice. Thank you.
Given that we are here for mainly fintech and blockchain, I think everyone expects that we say that, okay, the best thing to invest is in the really fintech and decentralized. I agree with that. However, I would just say maybe a little bit different. Like I would be selective anyway. It's like not whoever fall into that vertical or industry is like definitely gonna be the silver bullet, but definitely some of them gonna work, some of them are gonna struggle. So I would just be selective, but yeah, I agree with everyone on that. Especially like technology is part of everything. So if it's about like if you fall in that industry, you have the technology driven, but also as a startup, you are super fast, super your learning curve is like really like hockey stick. Definitely that would be, I think, a good shot.
100%. Like if we're talking about the general viewer of LA token that is an amateur investor, then yes, I still agree that real estate is the best one. But if you're a sophisticated investor or a government institution or an institutional investor, then obviously fintech or blockchain, because if the unicorns of those industries will provide 100x within 1 year, which is impossible to do with real estate. So just to clarify on what I said.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So we had a really great conversation for today. So a lot of value was produced with your help. So thank you very much for joining this session. So we'll continue discussing this topic in next calls. So I would like if you join us on the next call. So let's keep in touch. Thank you very much for today and have a nice day.
Thanks, everyone.
Sure. Have a great day.
Thank